Hello everyone, good morning. In this video, we are going to study CAO 10-2008 entitled Payment Application Secure System version 5 or the PASS5. This is for those who are studying Bachelor of Science in Customs Administration and those that are transacting with the Bureau of Customs. I hope this helps, guys. Please continue to watch this video. Customs Administrative Order 10-2008. It was created last November 12, 2008, and it's again entitled Payment Application Secure System version 5 or the PASS5. Objectives: to further enhance the security, convenience, and speed of the system for payment of duties, taxes, and other charges, both advance and final payments on imports, via a secured internet banking transaction between the authorized agent banks and importers. To align the payment system with the fully automated submission and processing of customs declaration via the internet under the electronic to mobile or E2M customs system. This Customs Administrative Order was actually created on 2008, and as of this moment, it has already been 12 years that the Bureau of Customs is already automated. That means that all the payments and all the lodgements of all the entries are being done electronically or through the internet, and also the payment of duties and taxes are already automated. The PASS5 shall be applicable on applications to be cleared through the Bureau of Customs offices operating the E2M customs, beginning with phase thereof. The duties and taxes on importations through ports that are awaiting the deployment of the E2M customs shall continue to be paid using the old payment system or the PASS4. So since again, as I've said, that the Bureau of Customs is already automated, then all of the duties and taxes or the payment of duties and taxes are now being done through the PASS5. General provisions. Phased implementation. Full electronic service via the internet for customs cargo control and clearance through the E2M customs will be put into operation and rolled out in all collection districts following a phased implementation. Under PASS5, the duties, taxes, and fees payable, both advance and final, will be transmitted to the authorized agent bank via a payment gateway through a secured communication channel and collected by debit from designated bank accounts following the procedures described in this order. So for us to know, the authorized agent banks refers to the commercial banks authorized by the Bureau to collect payment of duties and taxes. Requirements of PASS5. To be able to make payments of advance duty and final payables, the importer must have in place the following. Number 1, Customs Client Number or the CCN. The CCN is the importer's unique identifier in the E2M customs, enabling him to obtain the services allowed by his profile. The CCN is issued by the BOC following the procedures for the Client Profile Registration System. This number will also be required by the authorized agent bank when the importer opens a new or designates an existing account to be referred to as a debit account for use in the system, as well as in the issuance of the authorized agent bank reference number. So the customs client number can be obtained when you have yourself or your importer accredited to the Bureau of Customs. So there are certain steps that you need to follow in the accreditation of an importer to the Bureau of Customs. Number 2 requirement is the debit accounts with the authorized agent bank. Importers have option of putting up one or several of these accounts and with different authorized agent banks. So the importer should open up a debit account in an accredited authorized agent bank by the Bureau of Customs for them to be given an authorized agent bank's reference number that should be used in the lodgement of entry into the Bureau of Customs. They also need an authorized agent bank reference number. So this number is issued by the authorized agent bank following the putting up of a debit account. As we've said earlier, there shall be as many authorized agent bank reference number as there are nominated debits account. So the number of debits, the authorized reference number depends on the number of the debit account that the importer opens up in that particular authorized agent bank. So per debit account, there should be an authorized agent bank's reference number as well. Authorized agent bank shall have to upload these authorized agent bank reference numbers to the E2M customs for the automated debit process to operate. So they need to have the authorized agent bank reference number for them to be able to have the automated debit of that particular account for the payment of duties, taxes, and other charges of the importer. So the authorized agent bank reference number is really important because that is what you're going to lodge into the entry or into the SAD or to the import entry declaration that you're going to create for a certain shipment, for that particular shipment to be paid of duties, taxes, and other charges. Modes of payment. For customs declarations lodged through the E2M customs, the customs duties, taxes, and other charges payable can only be paid by cash and or tax credit or tax debit memo and or through the deferred payment scheme in the case of government importations and for broadcasting companies under existing laws and regulations. So what is a tax credit? A tax credit is an amount of money the taxpayers are permitted to subtract dollar for dollar from the income taxes that they owe. Okay? A debit memorandum is a notification to the customer that a debit adjustment has been made to their account, reducing the value of funds available. And the deferred payment is an agreement between the lender and a borrower, allowing the borrower to take possession of goods immediately and start making payments in the future. Cash payment of customs duties, taxes, and other charges including import processing fee, documentary stamps, and container security fee can only be paid through debit from the importer's nominated accounts and in an authorized agent bank as provided for in this order. So all of these customs duties, taxes, and other charges shall be paid through the authorized agent bank. Okay, so you are going to have your account into the authorized agent bank to have funds for it to be capable of paying the duties and taxes and other charges that your shipment occurs. TCC, TDM shall not be utilized for payment of duties, taxes, and other charges to the AABs. Procedures for payments through TCC, TDM shall be governed by separate regulation to be issued by the Commissioner of Customs. So the TCC and TDM, they cannot be used for the payment of duties and taxes and other charges to the AABs. There should be a separate regulation about that. Existing procedures governing government importation where the customs duties and taxes are settled under Joint Circular 21-2-91 dated November 19, 1991 and importations of broadcasting companies where the payment of duties and taxes are provided for under PD 1362 dated March 27, 2978 shall remain to be followed. So there are certain regulations about the importation of the government, and it says here that they are accepting deferred payment for the importation of government and broadcasting companies. All import processing fees must be paid through the PASS5 except for government importations, which may be paid either through the Customs Collection Office or through the PASS5. Operational provisions. Advance payment. The provision of Section 1 PD 1853 that no financial institution shall open any letter of credit covering imports unless the LC applicant deposits the full amount of import duty payable on the importations shall remain in force and effect. The Import Entry Declaration or IED shall continue to be used in declaring and paying the advance import duty. So for advance payment, the IED shall be continued to be used. The IED is your Import Entry Declaration. So before, the IED is manually submitted and it has 7 copies that were routed to many departments and offices that is responsible for the collection of duties, taxes, and other charges. But nowadays, IEDs are now submitted online via the E2M system. So the E2M system or the e-custom system or the electronic component of the integrated E2M customs automated processes is an internet-based technology that allows customs officers and traders to handle most of their transactions, from customs declarations to cargo manifests and transit documents, via the internet. Preparation and lodgement of the IED. Consistent with the phased implementation of the E2M customs, use of the paper IED will be discontinued, which will take effect upon the issuance of a Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas circular for this purpose. In lieu of the paper IED required for letter of credit opening under the BD 1853 dated January 6, 1983, an electronic IED must be prepared and lodged through a BOC accredited value service provider pursuant to existing regulations. The particulars of the goods to be imported as declared in the electronic IED and LC application must be the same. Any misdeclaration in IED shall be subject to the provisions of Section 2503 in relation to Section 3601 and 3602 of the TCCP as amended. So since we are already using the CMTA, we should be following the rules and regulations of the CMTA regarding the application of the letter of credit. So this 4.1.2 provision here in CAO 10-2008 is just saying the old regulations that has been provided by the TCCP. But now, all the preparations and lodgements of the import entry declarations are all being done electronically. So there is no other regulations that are being used aside from that. So we just need to follow the CMTA guidelines, rules, and regulations. Final payment. So for the computation of the final payment, the E2M custom system shall compute the final amount payable as follows. So the total assessment net of exemption minus advance duty paid minus the TCC or the TDM supplied referred to in the entry declaration is equal to the final amount payable to the authorized agent bank. Okay? So for you to be able to know your final amount payable, you need to just subtract your advance duty paid, or if ever there has been TCCs or TDMs that has been applied before the entry declaration or any letter of credit, shall be subtracted from the total assessment net of the exemption. So that is how you get the final amount payable to the BOC. Okay. 4.2 Responsibility of the importer to disclose and declare all the relevant and applicable data and information in order to determine the proper duties, taxes, and other charges due and payable. So it is still the importer that has the responsibility to declare the correct data and information about his or her shipment. This is for the proper collection of duties, taxes, and other charges. Discontinuing the direct payment to the AAB. Consistent with the national rollout schedule of the E2M Customs, the procedure of presenting the printed IARRD or SAD to an AAB for final payment and machine validation of the amount collected shall be discontinued. In lieu thereof, the final payment will be debited by the concerned AAB from the designated debit account upon receipt of the final payment instruction from the customs by the payment gateway, subject to the bank's confirmation and security procedures for payment instructions. So before, when there is no PASS5 yet, when there is already a final computation of your duties, taxes, and other charges, you need to still go to your authorized agent bank and show them the machine validation of the amount to be paid. Okay, but now it is already in the system of the PASS5 to inform the authorized agent bank of the final computation of the duties, taxes, and other charges that the importer should be paying the Bureau of Customs. The Bureau of Customs will be finalizing the computation of duties, taxes, and other charges to know what is the final amount of duties and taxes that should be paid by the importer. Then they are going to inform the bank, the authorized agent bank, via the payment gateway, and then the bank will confirm and will debit the payment of duties, taxes, and other charges back to the Bureau of Customs. Transmittal of payment confirmation. In all cases of payment instructions received, the authorized agent bank should complete the collection and thereafter transmits a payment confirmation to the electronic gateway payment unless there is no sufficient balance in the debit account. As I've said earlier, when the authorized agent bank receives the final amount to be paid by the importer, then the authorized agent bank will be confirming the payment of duties, taxes, and other charges. The importer should have a sufficient amount or a sufficient fund in his debit account for that particular importation or shipment to be paid by the authorized agent bank. Abandonment. If no payment confirmation is received within 15 calendar days from the date of receipt by the AAB of the final payment instruction, then the importer shall be deemed to have failed to claim his importation after filing the entry, rendering the same liable to abandonment pursuant to Section 801 of the TCCP. Again, this is an old provision. This is a provision by the TCCP, but now the CMTA has its new provision and new rules for abandonment, and those are under Sections 1129 and 1130 of the CMTA. Final payment bank. For shipments covered by LCs, final payment must be made to the same bank where the LC was opened. To avoid delays, declarants must ensure that the claims for duty exemptions have been duly processed pursuant to the existing laws and regulations and have been uploaded to the corresponding databases prior to the lodgement of the SAD. Cancellation of IED. In case the advance deposit of duty has already been collected and confirmed under the PASS5, but for valid reasons the LC applied for has not been opened, the importer may submit a request for the cancellation of the IED with the Revenue Accounting Division of the BOC. Said office shall review the request, and if found meritorious, shall input the cancellation details into PASS5 so the IED is tagged as cancelled. Cancellation of letter of credit. In case a letter of credit was opened, after confirmation under PASS5 of the receipt of advance deposit, but a request for the LC cancellation is made by the importer, the authorized agent bank, if it decides to give due course to the request, must prepare an LC cancellation message to customs through PASS5 for the covering IED to be cancelled. Refund of advance deposit. Refund of advance deposit for cancelled IED and LC following the procedures of 4.3 and 4.4 above shall only be done through the regular refund process. Responsibilities. For the efficient functioning of the PASS5, the following duties and responsibilities must be strictly observed by those concerned. Number 1 concerned is the importer. The importer should secure a certificate of accreditation as an importer and a CCN with the BOC. Again, an importer cannot transact with the Bureau of Customs if he or she is not accredited with it. He needs to go on the process of accreditation, and he or she should submit the requirements that the Bureau of Customs are asking for them to be accredited to their office. They should obtain an authorized agent bank reference number from his banks for each of the debit accounts to be utilized for making a customs payments pursuant to his order by presenting his certificate of accreditation. The importer should also have, again, a debit account from the authorized agent bank, and then the authorized agent bank will give them an authorized agent bank reference number for each of the debit account that the importer opens in their bank. The importer should also maintain a sufficient balance on the nominated debit accounts. There should be a sufficient amount that should be able to pay the duties and taxes that is due to his or her shipment. What are the responsibilities of the customs broker? The customs broker should keep confidential the AAB reference number and other information provided to him by the importer for lodging declaration with the E2M customs. So the customs broker is the one who's going to lodge to the E2M all the information that is needed for a shipment to be processed with the Bureau of Customs. And they should provide accurate information in the lodgement of the import declaration because he or she is the declarant. The BOC or the Bureau of Customs responsibilities are they should send payment instruction to the payment gateway. The Bureau of Customs is the ones who's going to finalize the amount of duties and taxes that should be paid by the importer for the particular shipment. Once that particular shipment has already been finalized and assessed by the officers in the Bureau of Customs, then the Bureau of Customs shall send the payment instruction through the payment gateway to the authorized agent bank. When the authorized agent bank already received the payment instruction, then they are going to confirm the payment and then send it back again to the Bureau of Customs. And then the Bureau of Customs will receive the confirmation of debit from the payment gateway. They are also the ones who issue the statement of settlement of duties and taxes for completely processed declaration of importers. The Bureau of Customs issue the SSDT. That means that that particular shipment is already paid and is now ready to be released in their system. And Also, the Bureau of Customs is the ones who issue the Certificate of Accreditation and CCN to the importers. The BOC also receive the AAB reference number and upload this to the client registration database. They are also the one who send electronic notice of abandonment to concerned banks in line with paragraph 4.2.5 of this order in case of abandonment, and they are the ones who send electronic IED to the payment gateway. Payment gateway. So the bank payment gateway's responsibility is that they receive from and transmit to parties concerned electronic documents as follow. So for the payment instruction, that is from the BOC to the authorized agent bank, payment confirmation from the authorized agent bank to the BOC, and in case of abandonment, notice of abandonment from the BOC to the authorized agent bank. The bank payment gateway also provide 24/7 service availability except during scheduled gateway maintenance. Authorized agent bank's responsibilities. The authorized agent bank receive payment instruction from the payment gateway. So this payment instructions are from the Bureau of Customs when there is already a final amount that is to be paid by the importer. And then they are the ones who debit the importer's nominated accounts subject to the bank's internal checking system. They also credit the account of the BOC maintained with the collecting bank and remit to the BSP for the account of BOC following the guidelines of the existing BAP-BOC MOA. They are the ones who send payment confirmation to the payment gateway, and then they refuse payment for abandoned shipments in case of abandonment. The Commissioner of Customs shall issue a separate order for handling shipments deemed abandoned under this administrative order. For else is cancelled, they send notice of cancellation to BOC through the payment gateway. So here are the list of the authorized agent banks that are in the Bureau of Treasury's list. Added Service Provider or the VASP. The VASP shall enable electronic submission of IED pursuant to this order and shall have other responsibilities as may be determined by the Commissioner in a regulation to be issued for such purpose. The most popular VASPs here in the Philippines are eConnect, Intercommerce, eTrade, and CDEC. So these value-added services providers are the ones that are providing you with the E2M services, and it is where you're going to lodge all your entries for all the shipments that you're going to submit to the Bureau of Customs. And it is also where the payments of duties, taxes, and other charges are being done. The exchange of the payments instructions from the banks to the Bureau of Customs are being done as well in the VASPs. And also, it is where the statement of settlement of duties and taxes are being seen, and also it is where the OLRS or the online release system is being uploaded. This is an example of a value-added service provider. So this is etrade.net.ph, and this is where you're going to put on your bank reference number. So when you put on your bank reference number here, that means that this particular shipment that you're going to lodge will be debiting the payment from this bank reference number. Circa 10-2008. I hope that you have learned a lot from this lesson. Thank you and have a great day. Stay safe, guys.